Today, we unveil what truly transpired in the most brutal of divine battles, the clash between Athena and Poseidon for control over Athens. Don't miss the shocking revelations and millennia-old secrets we're about to uncover in this video. The rivalry between Athena and Poseidon is more than just a mythical tale. It's a narrative that shaped the contours of the Athenian landscape and profoundly influenced the city's cultural identity. According to Greek mythology, these two mighty gods vied for patronage over Athens, each offering a gift to the city's citizens in an attempt to win their favor. Athena, with her characteristic wisdom, bestowed upon the Athenians the olive tree, a symbol of peace and prosperity. In contrast, Poseidon, the lord of the seas, offered a spring of salt water, gushing forth from the ground with a strike of his trident, a gift reflecting his dominion over the seas and storms. This dispute was not merely a competition for divine honors, but also a struggle for geographical and spiritual control that shaped the urban development of Athens. The site of this divine contest was the Acropolis, the ceremonial and spiritual heart of the city, where later the Parthenon would be erected in homage to Athena. This choice of location is no coincidence. It reflects the outcome of the gods' competition and Athena's central role in the city's life. In addition to its cultural and religious impact, the influence of Athena and Poseidon also extended to the topography and infrastructure of Athens. Athena's olive tree not only brought a symbol of resilience and renewal but also encouraged the development of olive groves, which became vital to the Athenian economy. On the other hand, Poseidon's gift, though initially seen as less practical due to its salty nature, eventually symbolized Athens' powerful connection to the sea, essential to its rise as a naval power. Considering these aspects, we realize that the mythology surrounding Athena and Poseidon serves not only to entertain or morally instruct, but also provides fundamental insights into how the ancient Athenians viewed the interaction between the divine and the earthly. The gods' dispute over Athens reveals a profound dimension of how mythical events were used to explain and justify the physical characteristics and historical trajectories of the city. Therefore, this divine competition between Athena and Poseidon is a prism through which we can explore not only mythology but also the urban and cultural evolution of Athens. The city's history is a tapestry woven with threads of myth, geography, and divine power, each element contributing to the unique character of Athens as we know it today. Love ancient history? Like and subscribe now to discover more secrets. Amidst the splendor and complexities of ancient Athens, Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, stood out not only as the protector of the city bearing her name but also as a central figure in shaping the roles of women in society. This influence was deeply symbolic and practical, reflecting in various facets of Athenian life. Athena was seen not only as a relentless warrior but also as a paradigm of intelligence and composure, qualities highly valued in women of the time. In Athenian politics and culture, where the direct role of women was often limited, Athena served as a vital example of female authority and influence. Young Athenian women were encouraged to emulate her virtues, wisdom, strength, and dignity. Unlike other female deities, who were often depicted in domestic or passive contexts, Athena was revered for her active involvement in city affairs, from warfare to arts and crafts, such as weaving, an essential and revered skill in ancient Greece. The goddess not only inspired women to seek knowledge and education but also symbolized autonomy. In a period where most women were confined to domestic and private spheres, Athena showed that female influence could also extend to the public and political realms. This aspect was celebrated during religious festivities such as the Panathenaic, a festival that reinforced women's role as integral parts not only of their households but also of the civic life of the polis. Furthermore, the cult of Athena reinforced an ideal of femininity that transcended the usual submissive role assigned to women in many other ancient cultures. Athena was a figure of self-respect and self-control, qualities taught to Athenian girls from an early age. This emphasis on virtue and morality elevated women's status, granting them a more respected and influential role in Athenian society. Lastly, the relationship between Athena and the city of Athens was not only one of protection and patronage but also of shared identity. Athena's presence and power as a goddess, reflected in the everyday lives of Athenian women, illustrate the complexity of interactions between the divine and the mortal. Her influence was a lasting testament that feminine qualities not only shaped the home but also the very foundation of Athenian public and cultural life. This legacy offers a fascinating glimpse into ancient Greek society and continues to inspire debates about the role of women in modern history and culture. The rivalry between Athena and Poseidon transcends the pages of Greek mythology and is strikingly crystallized in Athenian art and architecture. In Athens, the Parthenon serves as the most emblematic example of this divine dispute, with sculpted reliefs depicting the confrontation for the city's patronage. Observing these works, one notices that Athena is often portrayed with a posture of calm authority, holding her spear and shield, while Poseidon appears imposing, wielding his trident vigorously. In the painted vases of the classical period, we find another layer of this narrative. These artifacts depict scenes where the two gods compete, each with their distinct attributes, highlighting Athena's strategic intelligence contrasted with Poseidon's brute strength and dominion over the waters. These representations not only illustrate the myth but also function as an expression of cultural and religious values of the Athenians, who saw in Athena not only a goddess of war but also of wisdom and protection. The analysis of ancient coins reveals a fascinating aspect of the worship of these gods. Athena often appears on the coins of Athens with her helmet and the owl, symbolizing wisdom, while Poseidon can be seen on coinage from coastal cities, reflecting his importance to the peoples who relied on the sea. This difference in monetary symbolism highlights how the attributes and spheres of influence of the gods were adapted to the needs and identities of the city-states. The theatrical representations of the time are also a rich ground for exploring these deities. In dramatic works, Athena and Poseidon are often personified with significant differences in character and motivation, reflecting the internal conflicts and ethical dilemmas of the Athenians themselves. This shows how mythology was used to debate contemporary issues, making myths not only stories for entertainment but also tools for education and moral reflection. Therefore, as we observe these various artistic and architectural representations, it becomes evident that Athena and Poseidon were not just revered figures but symbolized deeply rooted ideals and conflicts in Athenian society. Each artwork is a dialogue between mythical past and lived present, between the divine and the human, offering a fascinating window into understanding how the ancient Greeks saw themselves and the world around them. At the heart of ancient Athens, a city marked by wisdom and war, resonates the story of a divine conflict that shaped its destiny. This episode delves into the battle between Athena and Poseidon, but goes beyond, exploring the intriguing phenomenon of celebrations in honor of Poseidon even after his defeat. The choice of Athena as the city's patron is well known, But the persistence of festivals dedicated to Poseidon reveals a more complex weave in the Athenian religious tapestry. The festivals honoring Poseidon, such as the Isthmia and the Poseidonia, continued to thrive in Athens, highlighting a peculiar feature of Greek polytheism, the ability to honor multiple gods, even those in apparent conflict. These celebrations were not merely empty ceremonies but occasions rich in athletic competitions, horse races, and sacrifices, drawing visitors from various parts of Greece. They served as a constant reminder that defeat in a divine dispute did not equate to oblivion or dishonor. The resilience of these festivities in Athens can be seen as a manifestation of religious diplomacy. By maintaining veneration for Poseidon, the Athenians not only ensured the benevolence of the sea god, crucial for a city with maritime aspirations, but also demonstrated political and spiritual sophistication. This practice reflects the Greek view that gods have complementary and essential jurisdictions, ensuring the balance of the cosmos and human prosperity. Furthermore, the continued honor of Poseidon in Athens can be interpreted as a strategy to maintain unity within the Greek pantheon itself. Myths often highlight rivalries among gods, but these narratives coexisted with the practice of shared worship, reinforcing the idea that divinities, despite their disputes, work together to maintain the order of the universe. This understanding helped the populace accept the inherent contradictions in their myths and live in harmony with divine whims. Therefore, examining the persistence of festivals in honor of Poseidon in Athens after Athena's victory is not just revisiting a chapter of Greek mythology but delving into the depths of ancient minds and society. It reveals how the ancient Athenians navigated the complex waters of their multifaceted religion, and how the worship of multiple gods reflected the rich tapestry of their spiritual and social life. This duality of worship shows that in Athens, the battle between Athena and Poseidon was just the beginning of a long history of coexistence and mutual reverence among the gods. The goddess Athena is often celebrated for her wisdom and justice, but a deeper analysis of her myth reveals that her character is multifaceted, including acts that could be considered morally questionable. One of these acts occurs in the story of Medusa, one of Athena's most tragic victims. Originally a beautiful priestess in Athena's temple, Medusa fell victim to Poseidon, and instead of receiving support from the goddess, she was transformed into a monster. This act by Athena, turning the victim of violence into a hideous creature, challenges the notion of her unwavering justice. Another notable example is the dispute between Athena and Poseidon for the city of Athens. Although Athena's gift, an olive tree, was accepted as the most useful present, there is controversy over how she secured the victory. Some versions of the myth suggest divine manipulations and Athena's influence over other gods to ensure her triumph, which questions her integrity. This strategic manipulation highlights a competence for politics and power that is rarely associated with her traditional image. Furthermore, Athena's treatment of her devotees was not always benevolent. Arachne, a talented weaver, dared to challenge Athena in a weaving competition. Although Arachne displayed superior skill, Athena not only punished her by transforming her into a spider but also showed an inability to accept challenges to her status. This act reveals a vanity and cruelty that sharply contrast with her reputation as a fair and rational goddess. Even in the context of the Trojan War, Athena demonstrates a vengeful and strategic facet. She not only played a crucial role in the fall of Troy but also manipulated warriors and influenced the course of the war in ways that favored her own interests and those of her protégés, often at the cost of many lives. Her involvement in the war, far from being mere strategic support, was marked by intrigue and personal vendettas. These examples highlight a much more complex and morally ambiguous Athena than the figure traditionally praised for her wisdom and justice. By exploring these darker aspects, we can better understand the goddess in all her complexity, questioning not only her character but also the narratives we choose to glorify or omit in Greek mythology. This more nuanced view allows us to reflect on the values and moralities that are highlighted or neglected in our own interpretations of historical and mythological figures. The battle for supremacy over Athens is not just a story but a tapestry of intertwined myths and narratives that vary significantly from one Greek region to another. Each local community, from the rustic Boeotia to the Cycladic Islands, wove its own version of the events that led to the rise of the city that would become the heart of Hellenic civilization. These regional variations not only enrich the understanding of the myth but also reveal how local identity and politics influenced ancient historiography. In the Peloponnese, for example, the foundation of Athens is often portrayed with a strong emphasis on disputes between gods and heroes. There, stories describe how Athena and Poseidon competed for the city's patronage, with Athena winning by offering the olive tree, a symbol of peace and prosperity. This narrative reflects the Peloponnesian reverence for divine power and the significance of the gods' gifts, contrasting with other regions that might focus more on human efforts and cunning. In contrast, in the Aegean Islands, the narrative often leans towards the dramatic involvement of mythical creatures and direct divine interventions, which can be seen as a reflection of the turbulent maritime conditions that shaped the life and culture of these island communities. Here, the foundation of Athens is often intertwined with legends of giants and sea gods, suggesting a cosmology where the supernatural is in constant interaction with the mortal. The versions from Attica, the region surrounding Athens, are particularly fascinating as they tend to present a complex blend of realism and myth. They emphasize wisdom and strategy, vital elements for survival and prosperity in an area often besieged by invaders. In this context, Athena is not just a goddess of war but also of wisdom, reflecting the Attic values of intelligence over brute force. Exploring these varied narratives not only illuminates the changing contours of Greek mythology but also allows for a richer understanding of the social and political dynamics that influenced how stories were told and retold. The foundation of Athens, seen through these multiple lenses, becomes not just a tale of gods and heroes but a vibrant study of how geography and regional identity can shape the collective memory of a civilization. The rivalry between Athena and Poseidon is more than just a mythological dispute. It deeply influences the politics and strategies of ancient Athens in Greece. The choice of Athena as the city's patron after her victory over Poseidon for the favor of Athens symbolizes not only a preference for wisdom and strategy over brute force but also shapes Athens' diplomatic approach. While Poseidon, with his impetuous temperament and association with the seas, suggests an aggressive and dominating foreign policy, Athena represents prudence, justice, and skill in negotiations. This duality directly influenced how Athens positioned itself among its allies and rivals. Instead of unchecked territorial expansion, typical of maritime empires that could mirror Poseidon, Athens invested in strategic alliances and the power of diplomacy. The Delian League is a clear example, where Athens led a confederation of polis predominantly through diplomacy and intellectual leadership, not brute force. Furthermore, the cult of Athena encouraged the city to value knowledge, art, and culture, making Athens a center of a soft power, in contrast to the hard domination that other deities, such as Ares or Poseidon, might inspire. This aspect of her divine patronage allowed Athens to present itself as a benevolent leader and a model of civilization and governance, attracting other city-states through respect and admiration rather than coercion or fear. The contrast between Athena and Poseidon also reflects in Athens' internal relations. The choice of Athena as the protective deity reinforced ideals of rational and equitable governance, essential for maintaining internal stability and harmony that are vital for effective foreign policy. Festivals like the Panathenaea, which celebrated the goddess and strengthened Athenian identity, also served to unite the population under a common sense of purpose and direction, crucial for maintaining collective effort in foreign policies and military endeavors. Therefore, by analyzing the influence of Athena and Poseidon on the power dynamics and diplomatic relations of Athens, we see a mirror of Athens' essence itself, a polis that valued cunning as much as strength and saw wisdom as the key to supremacy, not only on the battlefields but also in the complex arenas of diplomacy and cultural influence. The choice of Athena reflects a deliberate strategy that allowed Athens to ascend not through conquest but through consensus and mutual respect among the Greek city-states. The mythological rivalry between Athena and Poseidon is one of the most emblematic of ancient Greece, representing the clash between wisdom and the sea. However, beyond Hellenic roots, this narrative may have been shaped by broader influences, reflecting the rich tapestry of cultural exchanges in the Mediterranean. By exploring connections with other mythologies of the region, we notice intriguing parallels suggesting a dissemination and adaptation of mythological themes among neighboring civilizations. For example, in Phoenician mythology, we encounter figures like Baal and Yam, who respectively personify the power of the storm and the realm of the sea. The dispute for dominance between these two gods echoes the tension between Athena and Poseidon. These parallels are not mere coincidences. They point to a possible exchange of mythological ideas through Phoenician trade routes that connected different cultures across the Mediterranean. Moreover, in Egyptian mythology, the competition between Seth and Horus for divine supremacy also shares similarities with the Greek myth. Seth, the god of chaos and storms, and Horus, the sky, vie for the throne of Egypt, reflecting a duality that can be compared to the struggle between Athena's strategic wisdom and Poseidon's brute power of the oceans. This suggests that the Greek conflict may have been influenced by Egyptian narratives or vice versa, indicating a cultural dialogue predating the formation of myths as we know them. Additionally, the role of Athena in Greek mythology as a goddess of war and wisdom bears notable parallels with goddesses like Anatolia in the Hittite tradition. Anatolia, though primarily associated with war, also carries attributes of protector of wisdom and cities, similarly to Athena. This correlation can be seen as a reflection of Hittite influence or of a common older source, suggesting that representations of protective deities of cities and wisdom could be a broader archetype in the ancient Mediterranean imaginary. These interconnections reveal how the myth of the dispute between Athena and Poseidon may be a confluence of influences and shared narratives, transcending geographical and cultural boundaries. Understanding these influences not only enriches our view of Greek mythology but also highlights the complexity of cultural interactions in antiquity. Mythology, far from being an isolated collection of stories, is a continuous dialogue among peoples and cultures, a reflection of the interconnected nature of the ancient world. In the analysis of the foundation of Athens, we step into a realm where Greek mythology intertwines intrinsically with history. Athens, the city bearing the name of the goddess Athena, suggests from the outset a profound connection with the divine and the mythological. The battle between Athena and Poseidon for the patronage of the city is one of the most dramatic and celebrated narratives, but at the same time, it raises questions about its echoes in historical reality. This legend, etched in the minds and monuments of Athens, serves not only as a tale of origin but also as a reflection of the political and cultural disputes that could have been occurring in ancient Greece. The choice of Athena as patron, with her associations with wisdom and military strategy, contrasts starkly with the figure of Poseidon, the god of the seas, often linked to chaos and instability. This could symbolize a conscious choice of values for the nascent Athenian society. Investigating this legend leads us to consider the ways in which myths were used to consolidate power in ancient Athens. By elevating Athena, the city not only honored a goddess but also strategically positioned itself within the Greek pantheon. The myth can be seen as a tool of unification and political legitimation, especially important at a time when history was still being shaped through oral and ceremonial means. On the other hand, the actual existence of such gods and supernatural events remains evidently beyond the reach of historical proof. However, the persistence and evolution of these stories offer valuable clues about the beliefs, values, and social structures of the Athenian people. Archaeological analysis, for example, may reveal layers of the city corresponding to periods of major cults or reconstructions, suggesting the real influence of these myths on physical configuration and urban development. Therefore, in unraveling the foundation of Athens, we delve into a complex tapestry of mythological beliefs and tangible realities. Each layer of myth unearthed and each artifact found challenges us to reinterpret what we know about this iconic city, not just as a physical space but as a cradle of civilization that continuously negotiated its identity between myth and history. As we delve into the history of Athens, we notice that the rivalry between Athena and Poseidon is more than just a tale from Greek mythology. It profoundly shapes how we perceive various aspects of modern culture. This dispute, centered around the offering of gifts to the city that would become one of the most influential in antiquity, is reflected not only in the nomenclature of the Greek capital but also in artistic and literary representations throughout the centuries. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, the arts, and strategic warfare, bestowed upon the city the olive tree, symbolizing peace and prosperity. On the other hand, Poseidon, the mighty god of the seas, gifted Athens with a saltwater spring, a gesture reflecting both his strength and volatility. This competition for patronage reveals the duality between civility and brute force, themes resonating in modern literature where we often explore the tension between diplomacy and military might. In art, the influence of these gods is equally profound. Athena, often depicted in full armor and accompanied by an owl, symbolizes intelligence and careful planning, qualities celebrated in various forms of artistic representation, from classical statues to contemporary urban graffiti. Poseidon, with his trident and the commanding presence of the waves, permeates visual art with a sense of strength and unpredictability, elements that inspire both fear and admiration. In cinema, these myths are explored in ways that often emphasize their most epic and dramatic qualities. Films exploring themes of wisdom versus brute force, or the competition for the favor of a city or people, can be seen as modern reflections of the rivalry between Athena and Poseidon. These narratives not only entertain but also offer a reflection on the values we choose as a society and how these values are represented by the mythological figures we continue to venerate. The persistence of these gods in contemporary culture is not mere coincidence. It reflects a continued fascination with the ideas of wisdom, power, protection, and challenge. By understanding how Athena and Poseidon still shape our cultural expressions, we realize that, despite millennia of distance, the ideals and dilemmas of ancient Greece continue to influence and enrich our worldview. In discussing these legacies, we not only keep alive the rich tapestry of Greek mythology but also allow these ancient gods to continue a dialogue with our own modern experiences and aspirations.